Hi, I'm Vaughn. Recently, I used the FujiFilm X H2s with some optional equipment to video my daughter's wedding shower. Today, I will show you what settings and options you need to get B-roll and feature shots for your next event. Keep watching and I will show you how to do simple techniques to enhance your video footage with the FujiFilm X H2s and any other Fuji camera. If you have a Fujifilm camera with IBS or in-body stabilization and digital stabilization, or a lens with OIS, then you're probably thinking you're on stable ground. That's a lot of acronyms for stabilization. Most users think that camera technology should keep their video footage stable. After all, the X H2s is being advertised as having 7 stops of stabilization. But I'm here to tell you that if you want some awesome video of the special events of your life or a video project, you will need additional equipment like this cheap gimbal or this cage with handles. Before I start showing you some of the footage of the wedding shower with a gimbal, let's do a quick setup of the camera. First, let's go into the menu. And we're gonna start in the moving settings of the camera. And we're gonna start with the shooting mode. We wanna be in manual. Next, so we're gonna start in the movie settings, and that has the camera icon. So movie settings list, it shows here that I'm in 4K 23.98, which is 24p, and basically this will give you cinematic footage. And I'm in H2.65 long GOP 422, and I'm in 10-bit at 200 megabytes per second. And I'm using the standard film simulation, which will give me standard colors. And let's come back out. Let's go back in. And so I've covered all those features. So with mine, I'm doing a media recording to 1:2. And so I want it sequential. So if I'm shooting a longer video, then it'll just read from card 1 to card 2. And you can set it up a different way. And if you're using a monitor, you can set it up to go to your monitor, and you have to go into this HD output setting to change it to where the monitor can display it. So don't forget to set this. And don't change that. And as you know, I am in 2.65 long GOP. And right now I'm using IBIS and OIS. OIS is on the lens and IBIS is inside the camera. Also, you have the additional option of using digital image stabilization, which is DIS, but since we're gonna use a gimbal, we don't need the extra stabilization. IS mode boost is good for when you're panning or tilting or tracking subjects that are moving fast. So right now I don't need that because I'm using the gimbal. And I have it 3200 because I was shooting in the dark. And you can turn on zebras. I have my zebra, I don't have it on at this moment, but I have it set to off, but I have my zebras at 50%, or you can set them to 90, it all depends on your preference. All right, now that we have that done, let's move on. As always, these settings are for my purposes and they were for my wedding video. For the beginners and video professionals, my settings are what works best for my setup, which is basic to mid-level. Using the wrong Kodak can create issues if your computer can't properly decompress the files, and that's why I use H2.65 and long GOP because my computer can handle those. But if you're a video professional or you want to know more, please leave those comments if you have your favorite Kodak. For this video, I'm using long GOP H2.65. For some of the shots, I'm using 4K 60p for that slow motion look. Since this is a wedding video, I want to look cinematic, so I'm using 24p for some of the shots. I'm not using 30p because 30p is for everyday shooting. This is a special event. Don't forget to double your shutter speed if you change the frame rate. That's very important because sometimes even I forget. And then I have to reshoot my B-roll. Bummer. By shooting in 422, I have a 10-bit recording, which gives me more color reproduction. But this video is about equipment and not Kodaks. That's another video. So to start off, to make sure your settings are right, I would always go hit the Q, a quick menu, and I'm in manual, shutter speed 50 because I'm in 24p, standard. And you can use auto white balance, but I usually set my white balance manually. My f-stop is 2.8 because I'm in low light, ISO 3200. What's that? Frame rates 23.98, but 24p. And Kelvin, I didn't set my Kelvin because I'm using a custom. So let's come out of this menu. So what I'm showing you today will give you a basic setup to get you creating those awesome videos you see on YouTube. So now that we're done, we can move on to using this gimbal for the wedding video. So let me set it up real fast. So when you're setting up a gimbal, you want to set your lens at the length you need. And I have mine set at 35 millimeters. And so we're gonna set that on here. I'm gonna fast forward through the setup. So don't tighten it all the way. You wanna get it. So as you can see, it's tilting that way. So we're gonna loosen the screws a little bit, bring it back. Just tighten the screws just enough to hold it in place so you can slide it a little bit. That's close, getting there. Okay, we have the forward set, so I can tighten that a little bit. Now we need to move it to the side a little bit. Get it balanced. Going that way, a little bit more. So this is all part of balancing a gimbal. There we go. Now I'm gonna tighten that. So the way you know your gimbal set is if you can put it like this and it stays, then you're in good shape. Now you can bring it back this way, and if it's stable and level, then you're good to go. Now you can cut it on. So right now it's in the steady mode. It just goes up and down. And then you can change the gimbal again where you can go side to side. All right, let's move on. All right, with this gimbal, I did some reveal shots by placing the camera in a spot in the scene that makes the viewer wonders what's next. For the reveal, I had the gimbal, hold it steady, and then I brought it this way. And then as I was doing that, when I wanted to change focus, I just hit the focus on the back of the camera to focus on the next person. And then I just brought it through like so. And then back out. So you want to practice this at home before you try it in public so you don't embarrass yourself. And you have to be steady. Even though you have optical image stabilization and APSC on, you still want to keep a smooth shot. So you have to practice. Next, we're moving on to a cage. So how does that differ from that? From this? This is handheld, and this will help you stabilize that much more. Just in case you don't want to buy a gimbal, you can use this and it acts as stabilization also. Let's accessorize it. We can put an LED light on it. We can put a monitor on it. We can put a microphone on it. Your configuration may differ than mine, but this is the basic configuration. And then you're ready to go. And then you have a professional setup that anyone could be proud of. And another cool thing about cases are they're added protection for your camera, because I've dropped cameras before. And if I had a cage, maybe I would still have that camera. And with these two handles on this cage, see how much more stability I have for all this extra equipment? As you can see, using a camera like the FujiFilm X H2 is only part of the equation to making semi-professional video footage. Before you buy all this stuff, do your homework to find the tools that meet your needs. Please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and watch my other FujiFilm videos.